What has you so happy?
My home internet just got upgraded, and I didn't even have to pay for it.
What? Which network you have?
Flow! Now I can get the fastest fiber internet in St. Kitts and Nevis for the lowest price.
Fastest internet for the lowest price? What's the catch?
No catch, my friend. 100 megabits per second for just $135 a month. With Flow, you truly get the best internet experience around.
Switch to Flow for the fastest fiber internet at the lowest price. Visit a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
TDC for service, TDC for quality. TDC your company, TDC for service, TDC for quality. TDC your company. Together we succeed, building a strong community, pressing onward to one destiny, one love, one family. Together we succeed. Let the whole world see. Yes, this is 50.
When they start them there, we are top man, we take charge. Have no reaching now, we are shell down hard. Blast like a star with some gallopar. Overdo it, we take it too far. Take charge, take charge.
We are hot gal, we set the trend. Magnum we drink for the top man then. Wine with the style, no stop from spin. Hot blend, back bend, and take charge, take charge.
Magnum tonic wine, for the real star them. Take charge, take charge. Must be 18 or older, drink responsibly.
Good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis, and welcome to Voices right here on WIN FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. It is Monday, April 3rd, 2023. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9 for Monday, April 3rd, 2023. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the program for today. We are live on our social media platforms as well, so you can check us out via Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch at WINNMedia SKN, and of course our website at www.winmediaskn.com. This is Voices for Monday, April 3rd, 2023. I am Devon Cornelius. Now, joining us in studio for today is Ras Kalunji, and we'll be hearing from him very shortly. Today we'll be on the topic of the International Court of Justice and what does it mean for us, the International Court of Justice, and what does it mean for us. Ras Kalunji, good morning and welcome to the studios of WINNFM 98.9. You are no stranger here. You've been here quite a few times to comment and add your contribution to some very meaningful conversations. Good morning. Are you hearing me? Say you're not hearing me. Are you hearing me now? Okay, we'll have that checked out as quickly as possible. But Ras Kalunji is joining us in studio. And we will be on the topic of the International Court of Justice and what it means. What does it mean for us? Ras Kalunji, good morning and welcome to WINNFM.
Pleasant good morning, my brother. It's good to be here at WINNFM again, you know. This is like home for me, so. As you say, we'll be discussing this morning basically International Court of Justice. And I'll give a brief history of the court, you know, so people could know what it means. And you know that the court just issued a warrant for President Putin's arrest. Mm-hmm. And it's very interesting in terms of what's taking place on the world scene. And as I often tell our brothers and sisters, that what is happening in the world basically is that things are changing on the international arena. So we have to be cognizant of what is taking place. And, you know, some very important developments is taking place, and our people have to be aware what is basically going on. So I'm saying that looking at what is happening on the global stage, you know, we have to be on the right side of history. And this program is going to be very interesting because you're going to hear a clip from Brother Julius Malema. You know, he's a president of the EFF in South Africa, elected representative to Parliament. And you're going to also hear a clip from Hillary Clinton when she talked about how Gaddafi was killed, you know, and it will be an interesting program. But I'd just like to say, hail up all the brothers and sisters here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis and throughout the diaspora. And I'd just like to say, what Granny say, plant weed for the cannabis industry. What Granny say, buy local. What Granny say, support your own. What Granny say, don't take nothing that ain't natural. What Granny say, we must develop our own vaccine. What Granny say, develop our own economy. What Granny say, poor people, it's time for you to get organized. What Granny say, reparation by any means necessary. What Granny say, free the land. What Granny say, fall in and support the movement. What Granny say, this is the sound of the Mau Mau. Now, Brother Cornelius, we have the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, the Nguzo Sabo, that is our guide. Every day is a principle, and today is Monday. And the principle for today is Umoja, meaning unity. To strive for and maintain unity in the family, the community, the nation, and the race. Umoja means staying together as a people. And in this dispensation, that is very important. You know what I'm saying? But I'd just like to start out with an introduction about a historical information about the Criminal Court of Justice and what it's about. The court's primary function is to pass judgment upon disputes between sovereign states. Only states may be parties in case before the court, and no state can be sued before the World Court unless it consent to such an action. Article 36 of the court statute. Any state may consent to the court's compulsory jurisdiction in advance by filing a declaration to the effect with the UN Secretary General. More than 60 countries had issued such declaration. The declaration, the optional clause, may be made unconstitutionally, or it may be made on condition of reciprocity on the part of other states for a certain time. In proceedings before the court, written and oral arguments are presented, and the court may hear witnesses and appoint commissions of experts to make investigation and report when necessary. Case before the ICJ are resolved in one of three ways. One, they can be settled by the parties at any time during the proceedings. Two, a state can discontinue the proceedings and withdraw at any point. Or three, the court can deliver a verdict. The ICJ decides disputes in accordance with international law as reflected in the international conventions, international customs, general principles of law recognized by civilized nations, judicial decisions, and writings of the most highly qualified experts on international law. Although the judges deliberate in secret, their verdict rendered in both English and French are delivered in open court. Any judge who does not agree in whole or in part with the court's decision may file a separate opinion, and few decisions represent the unanimous opinion of the judges. The court's judgment is final without appeal. The court's decision, numbering approximately 70 from 1946 to 2000, are binding on the parties and have been concerned with issues such as land and maritime boundaries, territorial sovereignty, diplomatic relations, the right of asylum, nationality, and economic rights. The ICJ is also empowered to give advisory opinions on legal questions at the request of other organs of the UN and its specialized agency when authorized to do so by the General Assembly. All the advisory opinions, numbering about 25 over its 50 years, are not binding, are only consultative. They are considered important. They have been concerned with issues such as admission to the UN, the expenses of UN operations, and the territorial status of Southwest Africa, Namibia, and Western Sahara. The court may also be granted jurisdiction over certain cases by treaty or convention. By the late 1990s, approximately 400 bilateral and multilateral treaties deposited at the UN conferred compulsory jurisdictions to the ICJ. Now, my brother, I will just rest there because that's just a brief history. Mm-hmm. Basically, the reason why I'm raising this particular issue about the court, because we know that the court has just issued a warrant for the arrest of Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia. Mm-hmm. So we want to discuss that today because, like I say, it is very important. And, any questions that you have, you could pose them.
Mm. All right, we'll have to take a quick break to give a shout out to our sponsors, and when we come back, we will continue the conversation right here on WinFM 98.9. For those of you who are just joining the conversation, this is Voices for Monday, April 3rd, 2023. We have in the studio with us today Rascal and G, and we are on the topic of the International Court of Justice and what does it mean for us. Let's take this break, and we will be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Hear that? That's unlimited WhatsApp and Facebook messaging with Flow's unlimited super combo prepaid plan.
Music to my ears. I can do everything in it?
Yep, all you want. Have endless fun when you activate a 7-day plan for just $25. Enjoy 10 gigs of endless data for all your pics, GIFs, stickers, voice notes, voice calls, docs, and even video calls. Do all you want with unlimited WhatsApp and Facebook messaging on Flow's unlimited super combo prepaid plans. Switch to Flow today. Conditions apply.
So check it out.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust to secure your investment. You need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
This one. Welcome back to Voices right here on WinFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the conversation for today. It is Monday, April 3rd, 2023. And this is Voices right here on WinFM 98.9. For those of you who are just joining the conversation, we have in studio with us today Rascalanji. Rascalanji, thank you so much for being here with us today. Later on in the program, we'll be taking some calls to hear from you, our listeners, at 466-0989 or 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or 662-0989. I have a short clip here that I want to play for you. Rascalanji, we're going to have to play the clip. And then for me to transition to the other clip is gonna take a few seconds because they're on different
How they kill Gaddafi.
They're on different links.
Yeah.
So I'll just.
So you play the clip so we could set the stage and then we come back to Brother Julius Malem.
All right then.
That was former U.
So, that is the land of unconfirmed reports.
We came, we saw, he died.
That was former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's reaction following the capture and brutal murder of Libyan President Muammar Gaddafi. According to some, the invasion of Libya was about protecting civilians. Others said it was about Libya's vast oil reserves. But everyone was convinced that it was all about currency.
All right. So, and I'll just pull up the other clip quickly. Give me 1 second.
Julius Malema said he will protect Putin at all costs. Watch this clip. We'll come back and discuss.
ICC, Putin is welcomed here. And no one is going to arrest Putin. If needs be, we'll go and fetch Putin from the airport to his meeting. He will finish all his meetings. We'll take him back to the airport. We're not going to be told by these hypocrites of the International Criminal Court who know the real violators of human rights, who know the murderers of this world. That former Prime Minister of Tony Blair admitted that they made a horrible mistake when it comes to Saddam Hussein. They've not been charged today. Bush is still there. They've not been charged till to date. And then Obama killed Gaddafi. And then nothing has happened. We're here today with Libya being destroyed and unable to recover because of America. We know very well that where NATO gets involved, those are terrorists. We know very well where the US says we're going in to install peace, that place will never know peace as long as America has visited that place. So we don't want ICC's hypocrisy to apply here in our country. President Putin is welcomed. We know our friends. We know the people who liberated us. We know the people who supported us. In Kutokonaval, the weapons that were used in Kutokonaval that led to the liberation of South Africa were coming from Russia. Russia supplied us with weapons in Kutokonaval. Cuba supplied us with soldiers. MK was drunk.
As you heard, he said, whatever it takes, they are protecting Putin. By them, I believe it's the EFF. He said, even if it means they go to the airport and welcome him and take him to all the meetings he needs to get to and bring him back safely. And you can tell he means every word that he is saying. And, you know, the ICC wants to arrest Putin. And basically, Malema is saying Putin will be safe in South Africa.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, brother, Devon, you heard it. You understand? And what I'm saying is that you hear brother Julius Malema talk about the Battle of Kuta Carnival, right? The Battle of Kuta Carnival took place in southern Africa, Angola in particular, when the Cuban forces had to go, was requested from the Angolan government to come and fight the apartheid regime because the South African army was basically destroying all the frontline states. Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Angola, Botswana, you know what I mean? They was invading different countries. So the Angolan government requested troops from black people in the West particular. But then the only person who responded was the Cubans. So Fidel sent his troops to Angola, you understand? To liberate South Africa. That's where the whole process of the liberation of South Africa took place and the release of Nelson Mandela. Because the Cuban forces defeated the South African army on the battlefield. And then you had the global anti-apartheid struggle where our people, you know, it was a global movement in order to destroy apartheid. Though you heard what Malema said, the weapons that was used by the frontline states, all the armies, came from Russia. And our people don't know that. So what I'm trying to show you, what Malema is showing you, we know who is our friends and who is our enemies. The United States and NATO were supporting apartheid. So what I'm saying to our people, we got to be on the right side of history, my brother. You see? So I bring this information to show our people the hypocrisy. Because you heard what Hillary Clinton said. We came, we saw, and he died. That's when they killed Gaddafi. So, and the reason why they killed Gaddafi is because he had the money, he had the goal to come up with the African gold dinar so that we'll have our own currency. And that's the reason why he was died. That's the reason why he was killed. So I'm saying to you, the information is there, brothers and sisters. We don't have to make up nothing. All we have to do is be on the right side of history. Now, if you want to open the phones, whatever questions you have, you could pose them.
All right, then, Rascalanji, thank you so much for that. We're going to take a quick ad break and we'll open the phone lines when we come back. The numbers to call are 466-0989 or 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or 662-0989. We are also live on our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. But again, the phone lines will be open. Call us at 466-0989 or 662-0989. We'll take this break and we will be right back.
You found the sound 98.9 Win FM.
TDC for service, TDC for quality. TDC your company, TDC for service, TDC for quality. TDC your company, together we succeed, building our strong community, pressing onward to our destiny. One love, one family, together we succeed. Let the whole world see. Yes, this is 50.
When they start them there, we a top man, we take charge. Magnum we drink and we a shell down hard. Blast like a star in some Galapagos. Overdo it, we take it too far. Take charge, take charge.
We a hot gal, we set the trend. Magnum we drink for the top man then. Wine with the style, no stop from spin. Hot blend, back bend, and take charge, take charge.
Magnum tonic wine, for the real star them. Take charge, take charge. Must to be 18 or older, drink responsibly.
What has you so happy?
My home internet just got upgraded, and I didn't even have to pay for it.
What? Which network you have?
Flow. Now I can get the fastest fiber internet in St. Kitts and Nevis for the lowest price.
Fastest internet for the lowest price? What's the catch?
No catch, my friend. 100 megabits per second for just $135 a month. With Flow, you truly get the best internet experience around.
Switch to Flow for the fastest fiber internet at the lowest price. Visit a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9 for Monday, April 3rd, 2023. In our studios for today, Mr. Ras Kalanji. Ras Kalanji?
Yes, I just want to mention Brother Randall Robinson. I don't know if you know of him. Brother Randall Robinson, married to a Kittitian. I will just read some information here about him.
Sure.
His funeral will be on Thursday. Press release, Bassett Sinkits, Randall Robinson, founder and former president of the Washington, D.C. based foreign policy advocacy organization, Trans-Africa, and leader of the Free South Africa movement, which galvanized public energies to end apartheid, has died. Mr. Robinson led a range of foreign policy campaigns in his lifelong advocacy in defense of democracy and justice in Africa and the Caribbean. This includes his 27-day hunger strike, which led to the U.S. government to reserve its anti-democratic Haiti policy and reinstate the democratically elected government of Jean Bertrand Aristide. He was a professor of human rights law at Penn State University and the author of Defending the Spirit, The Depth, The Reckoning, Unbroken Agony, Quitting America, and Makeda. Mr. Robinson died today, March 24, 2023, in St. Kitts, where he and his wife, Hazel Ross Robinson, has lived for the past 22 years. A funeral service will be held in St. Kitts in April and a memorial service in Washington, D.C. in May. Further details will be announced as they become available. Now, what I'm saying, I raised that point to show you, my brother. We have in the midst here a brother who spearheaded the anti-apartheid struggle in Washington, D.C., and my teacher, Brother Ilombe Brat, in New York City. Now, I was involved in the anti-apartheid struggle. That's why I know Brother Robinson. Mm-hmm. He lives here for over 22 years, and, the brother just live here quietly. But we live in a brother who lived here, an iconic figure, for over 22 years. And his contribution have to be highlighted. So I just wanted to mention that. And then you could open the phones, We just give condolences to his family. And we wish that all our brothers and sisters here and throughout the African diaspora, just pay maximum respect to Brother Randall Robinson.
Mm-hmm. Well, the phone lines are open. Call us at 466-0989 or 662-0989.
One more thing,
sure.
Brother Devon.
Sure.
What Granny say? Africans unite. What Granny say? African unity. What Granny say? One African people. What Granny say? One African parliament. What Granny say? One African economy. What Granny say? One African passport. Now, I mentioned that to say this, that the African Consciousness Movement is calling for a national convention locally, right? that all the parties, all the political parties and the public in general could engage in a discussion for our people to move forward in this geopolitical situation that we are facing. Because I'm telling you, my brother, you see where the banks in the United States had failed and they had to bail them out, basically. The Reserve, I can't remember the name, but the Federal Reserve. So what I'm trying to show you, things going to get real crucial because of what is happening on the global stage. And we are, what I must say is that what's going to affect us is international. You know, people around here saying, oh, things slow in the country. The reason why things are slow in the country is because of what's happening on the global stage. And what really contributed to that is the invasion also of Ukraine. Because what happened is that through America has put sanctions on Russia, that oil and grain and, you know, fertilizers and this stuff, you know, because you have to do the transaction in US dollars. Because what happened is that the US weaponized, you understand, its dollar against other countries who don't agree with its policies. So we are saying to our people that we are calling for a national convention, right, to suss out all the difficulties that we have to move forward, and we're calling for a regional one with CARICOM and the OECS, and then we're calling for international one. So our position is that Pan-Africanism is the only solution to this pollution that we are facing. African people have to unite and come together as one, you know. So I just like to put that out there, but basically, as I said, if you have a phone call, if you have any questions, you can pose them.
Well, I wanted to ask, what do you think? Well, we're having this program, that's one, but what do you think can be done to, because as you say, St. Kitts and Nevis and us here in the Caribbean, in some way, in some shape or form, would be affected by what is happening here on the international scene. What would you say can be done here, or what can we do to limit or minimize that effect?
We have to come together as a people. That's why I'm calling for this national convention, right? Is that the things that are affecting us, we are not responsible for it. I give a historical outlook. Look at COVID. We are not responsible for COVID, but we were locked down, right? Now, COVID was thrust upon us because the capitalist international order failed. It collapsed, right? People don't understand these things. Now, the country was locked down for 2 years. No, don't you think that had an effect on our economy?
Absolutely.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to show you, that was done so that we could be more dependent on the imperialist forces, the colonial forces. To damage our economy was deliberately done. Not only the Caribbean economies, but global economy. Because the United States is the leading power in the world. And through the capitalist system crash, that's why COVID came on us. And not only that, they wanted to, you know, eliminate some people from the earth. I mean, Bill Gates said that, you know what I mean? And what I'm trying to show you, I don't come here and talk about things when I don't have the facts. And because we know who are responsible for the COVID situation. The United States government is responsible for COVID. I have all the information. Dr. Fauci funding the gain-of-function research in Wuhan, China. And that basically was to attack China also. You understand? Because the lab in China is an American lab. It's not a Chinese lab. So let me get back to my point. So I'm calling for a national convention where we trash out all the contradictions that we have and come up with one position. Because what I'm saying, how is it we must oppose ourselves? Look at our political situation. You have the government and you have the opposition. Now, how you gonna oppose yourself when all of us in the same boat? Because all of us was locked down under COVID. We have to be on one page. We have to be on one accord. What Granny said, unity is the only solution to this pollution. And anybody who don't want to unite with interests of African people, they're against us. It's as simple as that. You know? So we got to get our house in order and move forward, because what I'm telling you, my brother, what is facing us is a serious situation, and we are not responsible for it. So what we have to do as a people is that we have to be on the right side of issue. We have to know who is our friends and who is our enemies. Because look here, the United States government came down here and talking about this, the Citizen by Investment Program, right? And there was a meeting here in St. Kitts at the Hyatt, I think, and let me read something here. On 25th February 2023, a historic U.S. Caribbean roundtable on citizenship by investment was held in St. Christopher, St. Kitts, and Nevis. The highly productive and mutually beneficial engagement, right, involved delegation of the 5 Eastern Caribbean states with citizenship by investment, CBI programs, led by their prime ministers, and a delegation of the government of the United States, led by the Deputy Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Department of the Treasury. So when you want to tell me we couldn't sit down and do that ourselves? But what our people don't understand is that the United States is dictating to us what must be done. And I'm saying to our people, right, we have to get on one accord. We can't be opposed. Look, anything that is in solidarity with our people's interests, we have to support it. I raised that situation to show you now. They're saying that we can't sell passports to Russians. But they're buying oil from Russia. NATO is buying oil from Russia. The United States blew up the pipeline from Russia to Germany, to Europe, where they was getting cheap, reasonable rates for the gas and the oil. President Putin said that the pipeline will be no longer. The United States government blowed up the pipeline so that what? They could supply Europe with their oil and gas. So I'm saying to our people, you got to watch what is taking place globally. Now we have another situation now where in Uganda, the Ugandan government is passing a law to outlaw gay rights. Now I don't agree with that. You know, if people want to be what they want to be, and you know, you got to respect people, right? But what I'm saying, the United States government is telling Uganda, if you pass a law like that, we'll put sanctions on you. In Zimbabwe, the Zimbabwean government took back the land from the colonialists. The United States government put sanctions on Zimbabwe and mash up the economy. So what we are saying now, we have to get our own currency. You understand? That's why Gaddafi was killed, because he was coming with the African gold dinar. So what I'm trying to show you, when you watch all these things, what is happening to us, we have to take our situation very seriously and come up with solutions that will benefit our people's interests.
Mm-hmm. All right, then. Thank you so much for that, Raskanaji. The phone lines are still open, and we are waiting your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or 662-0989. You can also follow the conversation via our social media platforms as WINNMedia SKN via YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. This is Voices for April 3, 2023. I'm Devon Cornelius. For those of you who are just joining the program, we have Raskalunji on with us for today. And again, thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Kalunji, you would not believe it, but the hour is coming to an end very shortly. We have just about maybe 10, 12 minutes before we wrap up for the headline news. We're still awaiting some calls, but if there is anything else that you would want to bring to the public's attention at this time, feel free to do so.
Well, I like to raise, you know about the NATO Treaty, right?
Yes.
The North Atlantic Treaty.
Yes.
Washington, D.C., 4th April 1949. The parties to this treaty reaffirmed their faith in the purposes and principles of the Charter of the United Nations and their desire to live in peace with all peoples and all governments. Now hear this now. Article 5 of the NATO treaty. Hear what he said. That's why I'm calling for the unification of our people. The parties agree that an armed attack against one or more of them in Europe or North America shall be considered an attack against them all. And consequently, they agree that if such an armed attack occurs, each of them, in exercise of the right of individual or collective self-defense recognized by Article 51 of the Charter of the United Nations, will assist the party or parties so attack by taking forthwith, individually and in concert with the other parties, such an action as it deems necessary, including the use of armed force to restore and maintain the security of the North Atlantic area. Now, you hear that? Where is our treaty? Libya was attacked. Where was our response? President Aristide was kidnapped. He was overthrown twice. Look at the situation in Haiti.
But when you say where is our response, you're referring to us here in St. Kitts and Nevis?
No, our people.
Oh, okay.
Our people. You see, you can't isolate St. Kitts.
Right.
We got to look at ourselves as a people, and that's what we do. Because that's the narrative that our colonizers have put on us. Now, before, you hear the situation, look at the situation with the Haitians coming here. The argument people are making is that they came in here illegally. We came here legally. When they stole us and brought us from Africa, did we come here legally? The colonizer didn't consult with the native people.
Well, I mean, with this situation with the Haitians, I think they're looking at realistically or literally them coming here legally versus our ancestors coming here legally or illegally. But I follow the point that you're making, but don't necessarily agree with it. But I see where you're coming from.
No problem. But the point I'm making is that we have to put things in historical perspective. You see, because what happens is that the colonizers have separated us, you know. That's why we got all this political confusion among us. Because the Westminster system, I tell you again, there was training this thing. I'm saying at this particular juncture, this is what, the 3rd of April?
Yes.
2023. Look at all what has happened, right? We have been conquered for over 1,000 years. We were enslaved for over 400 years. Look at the situation in Haiti. The only country in the world that freed itself from enslavement. The only country on the globe. That is a historical situation, brother, where we should cherish. But we look down on Haitian people because of the propaganda that was spread by our oppressors, right? From 1891 to 1804. The people in Haiti, that's when the war started, right? Liberated themselves on the 1st of January 1804 and declared its independence. All the European powers put sanctions on Haiti. Right? When you hear the sanctions is not new. So what I'm saying to our people is that we have to look at things from a historical perspective. I'm saying it is time to put our house in order. All the things what you're seeing. Look at the Windrush generation in England. They brought us to England to rebuild England after the Second World War. Right? Now they're saying now, all the people who went up there, they're sending them out. We see what happened in Ukraine. When Russia invaded Ukraine, that black people couldn't leave Ukraine. We see what happened to George Floyd. Now we look what is happening in Haiti. Now you're going to tell me, Haitians come here, and you tell me, whatever the circumstances, because it's trafficking, because we were human trafficking, we came here by human trafficking, right? So what I'm saying to you is that Haiti is a special case, and CARICOM have to come up with a policy to integrate Haitians into our societies. They have to come up with some kind of policy. So what I'm saying to you, we in the African Consciousness Movement, we are sharing these ideas with our people. Because what I'm trying to show you, we have to look at our people's interests. We also want to set up a Pan-African relief fund. Because when other people, because more refugees going to come here. You see what happened with the boat in Canary there, where the brothers and sisters from Africa,
Right.
with the boat capsized.
Yeah.
These things can happen more and more. So what I'm trying to show you, we have to come up with a policy to protect our people. And all we're doing, my brother, is sharing ideas. That's all.
But in the midst of protecting our people, and this perhaps might be the same thing, but in the midst of protecting our people, we have to protect ourselves.
But our people is ourselves. You see, that's what I'm saying, my brother. These one people, because what I'm trying to show you, whatever could happen, because what happened to Haiti could happen to us here.
Fear.
Because, okay, I'm going to show you it from a different perspective. The United States said that we have to fight communism. Communism is a bad thing, right? When the revolution took place in Russia, what year it was?
I'm not certain.
1917.
1917, okay.
Right? The Russian Revolution. When the United States invaded Haiti? 1917, there was no communist country on the face of the earth. So there wasn't fighting communism. You see my point? We have to know these things. And that is the problem, is that this divide and rule strategy. Oh, I'm from Jamaica. I'm from Barbados. I'm from Antigua. I'm going to show it in a more relative term recently. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, we have some callers on the line, so let's head to the phone lines and we will take this call. Caller, good morning.
Hello.
You're on the air.
This here man, what? Put a man. Give me his number.
Hello, caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, hello. This here man, what talk to you? Give me his number.
You want to make a contribution to the program?
Yeah. I want to talk to the same man there.
Well, he's
right.
You live in Singet?
He's right here.
Yeah, put a man. Let me talk to.
Yeah, I'm listening you.
Give me your number then, no?
661 1998.
Wait, 661. Yeah, 9. You still there?
Yeah, this one is 668 1992.
661.
No, 668 1992.
899.
668 1992.
Okay, wait. I'll let my mother take the number. Mama, take the number so you can know what we're talking about. The number now. You say hello.
All right. Just repeat the number and they'll get it. But
the number is 668 1992.
Yeah, that's 668 1992.
Yeah.
So I guess when they need you, they'll call you. But finish making your point and then we'll wrap up.
You remember when the West Indies was dominating cricket?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think it's something that you should know, our people should know. England, the West Indies was dominating cricket. They changed the rules. They said you could only bowl 2 bouncers in an over. Because we had the fast bowlers, Roberts and Holding and them. They changed the rules on us. When they set the rules, and we start to play by the rules, and we start to dominate, they change the rules on us. That's what they keep doing. So I bring up that point to show you, my brother, is that, especially in cricket, we dominate what? The West Indies dominate the cricketing world for over 20 years. And then they say, well, because we had these fast bowlers, they say you could only bowl 2 bouncers in an over. You see my point? So that's what I'm trying to show you. We have to get our own rules. You're hearing, okay, you have a caller?
We have a caller on the line. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call.
Hello?
Hello, caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
What you say number be? Tap, the number for the man.
668 1992.
that person, like, he trying to waste people time.
Exactly.
668-1992.
Yeah.
If you can't get that, then I don't know how else to help you. Rascalanji, sorry about that. Finish making your point, and then we'll just have to break for the headline news.
Yeah, so what I'm saying, my brother, when we look at all these historical developments, we have no other choice but to get our house in order. We can't keep fighting one another. Look at the political situation, PAM, Labour, UNEP, CCM, and look at what happening in Nevis, right? So I'm saying to you, we have to come up with a position that's going to support our people's interests instead of all this bickering. We have to get on one page. And I'm saying, if different people in society, they don't want to support Pan-Africanism, well, it's them. So you with the enemy. It's as simple as that, my brother. We can't keep dividing ourselves among political lines. I'm a Labour, I'm a PAM. We're African people, and Pan-Africanism is our philosophy. And if you don't want to accept that, then you're our enemy. It's as simple as that.
All right, then. Rascalanji, unfortunately, we are out of time, so we'll have to take a break for the headline news, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation right here on Win FM 98.9. Let's take this break for the headline news, and we will be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Black Sands Music Festival presents Knockshore Night, featuring international dancehall sensation Shansia. Def Jam recording artist Massacre. Live Saturday, April 8th at Sandy Point, St. Kitts. Get your tickets online now with Jad Cash or contact 869-664-4179 for info. Black Sands Music Festival returns with Shansia.
No girl can't see me and cause problem. Them a man clowns for me walk on them.
Massacre.
Start it and them a run help you walk
Plus live bands and local DJs. Knockshore Night, Easter Saturday, April 8th. A Palm Nations tour event.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
This is the Carib Update News Service. I am Wendy Chateau reporting. Two small parties in the British Virgin Islands coming together for what they call a soft alliance ahead of the April 24 general elections. This is the big story we're tracking this hour on Monday, April 3, 2023. Details of this story and more straight ahead. Now for the details. In the British Virgin Islands, the Ronnie Skelton-led Progressive Virgin Islands Movement, PVIM, has announced that it has entered what has been described as a soft alliance with opposition leader Julian Fraser. Fraser is campaigning under the banner of the Progressive United, though there is no other identifiable candidate of the registered party. Fraser is the incumbent in District 3, and under the alliance he will seek to lend his supporters to the 4 at-large candidates of the PVIM. The PVIM has been actively seeking alliances. An effort to join with the National Democratic Party fell through a few weeks ago. The opposition parties have struggled to put together full slates, with only the incumbent Virgin Islands announcing all 13 candidates. It is exactly 3 weeks before the polls. Regional political analyst Peter Wickham says that the incumbent VIP of Natalia Whitley could benefit from the opposition not being able to come together.
My sense is that a unified force of all of these opposition forces could present a serious challenge to the VIP. You know, in islands like this with a small electorate, if you have a fracturing and a breaking up of a political system, ultimately the one solid alternative is essentially the one that will pull through. And I think that right now, everything is leaning in the direction of the VIP, unless these alternative options can consolidate the forces behind one solid leader and come up with an alternative or an answer to the VIP that's currently in government.
The VIP was wobbled last year by the arrest of then Premier Andrew Foy in the United States. Wickham says that he senses people feel that Whitley, who took over in the aftermath, has earned the right to be given his own chance.
One is that he hasn't been doing badly, all considered, and he seems to have been trying to present a united front and certainly to be able to save face in terms of what has happened. And then the other side is that a lot of people are saying, that he seems to be a fairly decent individual and that perhaps he should be given a chance to have his own government. And I think that those are the two conversations that seem to be taking place. So, I think when you speak to people, it's fairly clear that there are a number of people who feel that he has earned the right to be given his own chance, A. And secondly, that all things considered, he's taken the country through a hurricane and has been able to emerge.
Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown has scoffed at opposition demands that he resign over the issue of West African arrivals there under controversial circumstances. The opposition call also came in the wake of last week's boat tragedy, where it is now believed that 12 Cameroonians perished while seeking to make a treacherous boat journey from Antigua to St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Brown said it is wishful thinking to believe he will move. This is Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service. In more news, Venezuelan authorities have taken 9 officials from state-owned metals conglomerate CVG, including from steelmaker subsidiary Sidor, into custody during corruption investigations, Attorney General Tariq Saab said on Sunday. Prosecutors began investigating irregularities at CVG and Sidor on Friday, adding to investigations into alleged corruption at the state oil company PDVSA and a government agency overseeing cryptocurrency transactions, both led by Tariq El Assami, who subsequently resigned as oil minister. Nestor Astudillo and Pedro Maldonado, the presidents of Sidor and CVG respectively, are under arrest, as well as 4 company vice presidents and 3 managers. The Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, JCTU, has written to the Ministry of Finance there, seeking a meeting to discuss what it claims are breaches of a memorandum related to pay packages. JCTU President Helen Davis White says the Confederation has asked that the meeting be convened within the next 10 days. There appears to be growing discontent among public sector employees over their new pay package under the Compensation Review Program. Several public sector groups have been fuming about their salary package, claiming that they are receiving less pay as a consequence of the review exercise. Davis White reported that trade union leaders have been overwhelmed by the level of discontent among the groups. This has been another edition of Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service, the Caribbean's newsroom. I am Wendy Chateau reporting.
Next, the Pope says he will take part in the Mass celebrating Palm Sunday in the Vatican. The 86-year-old was discharged from a hospital in Rome in the last few hours where he was receiving treatment for bronchitis. He was smiling and leaning on a cane as he left the hospital. He greeted well-wishers there and joked that he was still alive. The Vatican said he'd resumed some work duties while in hospital, baptising a newborn baby as well as sharing a dinner with some of the doctors and nurses. Well, Ruth Gledhill is a assistant editor of Home and Digital at The Tablet, a Catholic news magazine, and gave us her reaction to those pictures.
Well, really happy because, it's the best possible outcome. And as the Vatican was indicating all along, he has been released in time to fulfill the Easter schedule, and he does appear to have responded well to the antibiotics for his bronchitis.
And this time of year, there is, a pretty busy schedule, isn't there?
Yes, there is. And it starts really tomorrow, Palm Sunday, and goes through Holy Week, Maundy Thursday and Good Friday, and then the Easter services. But after that he has a chance for a bit of a rest, although he's off on his travels again quite soon. And I think that he is in a wheelchair, don't forget, so there's not too much standing involved, even though his knee is getting better, the knee that's put him in the wheelchair. It's getting a little bit better, but he's still. So it means he doesn't have to stand up so much as maybe he would have had to do if he didn't have the knee problem. So I think it looks likely he will be able to get through it. He might get some help here and there from other people, but the main thing is the infection is over. And when he was admitted to hospital on Wednesday, suddenly and unexpectedly, of course, lots of people feared the worst, as one would with any man, 86-year-old. Man. So it really is. It does feel like very good news that he does appear to have come through it.
And just talk to us just briefly, if you can, just the approach to his health that he's taken and disclosure, because of course he is a man in his 80s. You'd expect issues to come up, but just talk us through his approach that he's taken.
I don't think it's overstating it to say the Vatican's natural inclination always in the past has been to say as little as possible when elderly popes start to develop signs of frailty. But Pope Francis has always been determined that there should not be, nothing should be hidden. And he's always been completely open about his health and what issues he's had from when he was a fairly young man up until now. So we do get information very quickly, which I think is very reassuring and is a good development.
OK, and just before I do let you go, just got time for one quick more. What does this mean for people around the world, people who are watching who aren't part of the Catholic faith, to see him up and about at this time of year?
Well, since Pope Benedict resigned and then spent a while in retirement at the Vatican before his passing, it has been a cause of speculation as to will Pope Francis retire early. But Pope Francis says that he sees the papacy as a job for life. But soon after he was elected, he did sign a form saying that if he became incapable of doing the job, he would step down, and that could be for health reasons. But the one phrase he has used is clarity of mind. Well, there's no suggestion that in these physical ailments that he is suffering with his knee still ongoing, that there's any effect on his clarity of mind. He has great acuity. So I think Catholics do understand that to be the case. Always there's concern, with an elderly man, if they become ill and he's someone, well, with any elderly man who becomes ill, yes, there is concern. Of course there is. But I think, so it's with great joy, really, that people are seeing him come through this and looking fit and well to carry out his duties.
Now, Finland's main centre-right National Coalition Party has won the most seats in Sunday's parliamentary election, making its leader, Petteri Orpo, likely to become the country's new Prime Minister. Mr Orpo defeated Prime Minister Sanna Marin's centre-left Social Democrat. Emma McCarthy reports.
Relief and celebrations for Petteri Orpo after a nail-biting election.
You can see that I'm very happy. This was great victory for Kokoomus. I think that Finnish people want change. They want change, and now I will start negotiations, open negotiations with all parties.
Mr Orpo and his National Coalition Party claimed victory late on Sunday with 20.8% of the vote, ahead of the right-wing populist Finns Party and a swing away from the centre-left Social Democrats. It's a bitter defeat for Prime Minister Sanna Marin, even though her party looks set to increase its share of seats in Parliament.
This is a great day because we've done well in the elections. Congratulations also to the Coalition Party and to the Finns. Democracy has spoken. The Finnish people have cast their votes, and celebrating democracy is always a wonderful thing.
Miss Marin became the world's youngest Prime Minister when she burst onto the political scene in 2019. Now at 37, she steered the country to within days of NATO membership and has been praised for Finland's response to neighbouring Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. But at home, she's become a polarising figure. She came under scrutiny last year when a video emerged of her singing, dancing and drinking at a party, as well as her government's public spending. For Mr Orpo, it's now down to business, as he vows to fix Finland.
I want to build trust and cooperation between parties and build up the strong majority government.
Emma McCarthy, BBC News.
And Alec Neum, a political editor at Finland's MTV News Network, spoke earlier to my colleague Victoria Valentine.
Well, this was clearly a thumb down from the Finnish nation to the current government. And this means the National Coalition Party, its big theme of its politics has been the economy and especially more discipline into using state money, even significant budget cuts. But now it's up to who they will form the coalition government with. Is it the Finns Party or the Social Democrats? But in any way, especially the economical policy will steer towards right.
How easy will it be to build a coalition, do you think?
It might be a little difficult this time. The National Coalition Party will seek coalition, probably it will try it with the Finnish parties, but they have several disagreements about immigration, about European Union, about climate policies. Then, on the other hand, they could also try to find a coalition with the Social Democrats, but there they will have huge disagreements about the economics, since Social Democrats have not been pro-budget cuts during the campaigns. So there could be a month, could be 2 months to find a government, but at the same time there are these two different possibilities. So it could be a little harder than usually in Finland, but definitely not impossible.
In terms of Finnish politics, several of the sort of most popular figures actually have convictions for race-related offences. Do you think the National Party will sort of be willing to take the reputational hit for having a far-right populist party in government?
That's a very good question, and there has been disagreements about that inside the National Coalition Party. But at the same time, the Finns party, the right-wing populist party, has done effort to change itself into more ready to be in the government. It has tried to not gain public attentions about these different scandals, different racist slogans, racist outcomes. So it is really possible that the Finns could come into the government. They have many times compared themselves to, for example, the Social Democrats in Denmark, but we also know they could be compared to the Sverigedemokraterna in Sweden. But it is indeed possible that they could form a government with the National Coalition Party.
You're with BBC News. Now, former US President Donald Trump is expected to fly into Manhattan later today to face charges over hush money payments to a former porn star. CBS correspondent Jared Hill spoke to us from outside Manhattan Criminal Court, where Mr. Trump is expected to undergo processing, as it's known, on Tuesday.
This will be a historic week here because former President Trump is now the first former president of the United States to be facing criminal charges. What we're expecting again is for today, the former president to fly into New York from his home in Florida, and then he will be coming here to the courthouse in Manhattan on Tuesday. This is where he will be fingerprinted. There will likely be a mugshot, in essence, of the former president. We're not expecting handcuffs in this situation because of the security concerns. He'll be with Secret Service, though, and then there will be this arraignment where we will learn at that point what exactly he is being charged for. Again, you mentioned that this is centered around this hush money payment, but the question here is whether there was an illegal falsification of business documents. There are some sources telling CBS News that this could potentially be at least one felony count in relation to that. What else we might see, we'll have to wait. Back to you.
Yes, as you said, we don't yet have the details of what these charges will be. Mr. Trump's lawyer, though, he says Mr. Trump, the former president, is gearing up for a fight. This could be a bitter dispute.
Yeah. That's right. So the lawyer for former President Trump says that they're gearing up for a fight here. They're also saying that they potentially might try and get this case thrown out based on an argument that this should be a federal case and not a state case. Again, we'll have to see what a judge ends up deciding when all of that comes into play here. But this could be both a legal battle for the former president as well as a political one because, again, remember, he is running for president in 2024. And we've already learned that there is another Republican, a former governor of a state here in the United States, that is now throwing their name in the hat for that 2024 race, also saying former President Trump should drop out of the race because of this indictment, because of these charges, saying essentially that this is all too much of a sideshow for the country.
Jared Hill speaking to me a little earlier. Well, I also spoke to Angelia Wilson, who's a professor at the University of Manchester. She specialises in American politics, and she explained the significance of this indictment.
It is an unprecedented week. It is the first time a president has been facing such criminal charges. I think there are two things to look for. There's the immediate reaction, which is going to be, I understand, on Tuesday after he's charged, he will fly back to Mar-a-Lago and hold a rally. And so there will be the immediate aftermath, both possibly in New York and definitely at Mar-a-Lago with the potential for violence, or certainly the violent language and plans for violence, certainly if he's going to be convicted of these charges. On the other hand, it's about the long-term implications. And for Trump, this is in many ways a gift. He wants to keep his name in front of the public. His supporters are going to continue to support him. They're not going anywhere. There's a recent survey by the Public Religion Research Institute that has said Christian right voters, who are about 60-70% of the Republican Party, Christian right voters believe that a politician can behave ethically in office and have all sorts of personal transgressions. In 2011, only 30% of those Christian right voters thought that would be the case. By 2016-17, we now have 72% of those that think that. So his supporters are not going anywhere. In fact, they're going to be emboldened by this.
Yes, I wanted to ask you about that because President Trump, of course, denies any wrongdoing and using this to mobilise his supporters. One would expect we will see much more of this as the week goes on. Yes, and Trump's definition of wrongdoing is fairly fluid. I think we can all agree. So what he thinks is wrongdoing and what his supporters think is wrongdoing are very different than what maybe much of the American population thinks is wrongdoing. This is a minor charge. There are other charges that are expected to come from election interference in Georgia, perhaps in terms of incitement to violence on the January the 6th. So this is the first charge to come, a group of charges to come down. It's not going to be the last. And there are some that are questioning why we start with this kind of more minor charge, but it is something that is going to continue to roll between now and the elections in 2024. And Trump is not going to be far from the headlines. So, today, the next 48 hours will be an interesting and historical moment, but there's going to be plenty of those between now and the election of 2024. Angelia Wilson speaking to me a little earlier.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Black Sands Music Festival presents Knockshore Night, featuring international dancehall sensation Shansia. And Def Jam recording artist Massacre. Live Saturday, April 8th at Sandy Point, St. Kitts. Get your tickets online now with Jadcash or contact 869-664-4179 for info. Black Sands Music Festival returns with Shansia.
Now girl can't see me and cause problem. Them a man clowns for me walk
and Massacre. Plus live bands and local DJs. Knockshore Night, Easter Saturday, April 8th. A Palm Nations tour event.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International. By land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king. Please drink responsibly.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Supermarket shoppers understand that convenience matters. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Ample parking and the widest variety matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Clean, spacious aisles and the highest level of customer service all matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, price matters most. We've renewed our commitment to guarantee the lowest prices in the Federation. Why? Because we understand that in this tough economic environment, price matters most. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most. Farms Estate Nevis and Wellington Road, St. Kitts.
Price matters most.
Welcome back to Voices right here on WINFM 98.9. We are continuing our conversation for today. We have in the studio with us Ras Kalonji. It is 12:33 here in the studios of WINFM 98.9. We have some callers on the line, so we'll head to the phone lines and we will take some calls, all right? Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Hey, good afternoon, Devon. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. What about you?
I know you're giving God thanks. We're going to whole week, you know. That is what I call sacrifice. When somebody would give their life for their enemy, and people, the Bible said, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. He didn't just die. He rose again to give us hope. Now I want to begin with sending my condolences. And Kalonji, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You always happy, man.
Good
I have been
afternoon.
listening all morning to you, you know. You have interesting ideas, you know, because it is ideas that cause things to happen. Now, I want to send my condolences to the family of Professor Robinson. Well, he is our citizen, eh? He was married to one of our citizens. So I would say that one of our citizens has passed. Now, in terms of the activism of my good friend Kalonji and others, it's not a new idea, you know. Not a new idea. It is how do you accomplish that idea? Now, don't answer before I finish. Now, you spoke about those who are not for us, our enemies. Under your model, how do you plan to deal with enemies and those who don't agree with your ideas or your ideology? Next question. Is there any existing political system or economic system that you would model your proposed system or unification? Do you intend to remove all national boundaries? Because if we're going to be all one. And this third question is, what caused the USSR to disintegrate? See if you could answer those. You have the questions I asked?
Have all of them.
In the disintegration of the USSR, that they were in Ukraine, so it's part of that. What models you could point to? America, Russia, China, Cuba, North Korea. And the first one, in terms of boundaries. Because if we are going to become one, there can be, under your model, I suppose there can be any petition. So that does the state of St. Kitts and Nevis and all the other countries where we have black people, would they no longer exist? Thank you.
Well,
all right, caller, thank you for your contribution.
Oh, you have another call?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. You're talking about boundaries. Africans in the Western world, right? We suffer the same consequences everywhere we were. Whether it was in North America, South America, or the Caribbean. Now, the Republic of New Africa. We are citizens of the Republic of New Africa. Because our situation was the same. Now, man, I would like to talk about nationhood, but that's for another program, my brother. That's for another program, right? Now, she also mentioned what kind of economic model. One of the principles of the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, Ujama, cooperative economics, to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. Ujama means buying from each other, right, and supporting each other, and what is ever in our economic interest. So I'm saying to you, the whole question of Pan-Africanism, my brother, is nothing new. You see, Nkrumah, I don't know if you know about President Nkrumah. He was the first president of Ghana.
Okay.
All right? He took Ghana into independence in 1957. Well, I would like to say that Ghana was the first country in Africa, black country in Africa, to go into independence, but Sudan was the first, right? 1956. But I don't consider Sudan to be a black country because of the Arab and the Islamic influence. So, all I'm saying to you, that these things are nothing new, my brother. It's just that our people don't know. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah put a model forward about how this unification of African people should be done. Now, I'm saying, anywhere African people be in the world that forms a community, that is Africa. We're talking about the unification of Africans on the continent. It's nothing new. That's the whole concept of Pan-Africanism. Pan meanings everywhere we are, right? So I'm saying to our people is that I'm not a Kittitian. I'm not a Nivision. I'm an African. And that's what we have to refer to ourselves. Now, I can say if you want to use a particular geographic area where we originated from, you could say St. Kitts, you could say Nevis, you could say, Antigua, Barbados. Nothing is wrong with that. But what I'm saying is that we have to refer to ourselves as one people. Are we getting at the treaty? Right? These things are nothing new. It's just that our people are not how we have them. Now, look at Haiti. As I mentioned before, Haiti should be our example in terms of what they did in 1804 moving forward. Our people have to study Haiti and where Haiti was successful in achieving its independence in 1804. That spirit of our ancestors, you understand, should be kindled in us. A spirit where we strive to true African liberation, to liberate ourselves. Because we were a free people in Africa before we were captured and brought here. So we have to restore that Africanness within us, right?
We have some more callers on the line, Rascalanji. Let's head back to the phone lines and we take some more calls. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Hi, good afternoon, gentlemen. Everything sounds so good and sounds so sweet. But I've been told that a long time ago, and it's used so often by the Jamaicans, you can't dance abroad before you dance a yard. Meaning, charity begins at home, but it does not end there. We are aware of all the Africans outside because we carry the same pigmentation of color. But, one of the things that I like about that, do I ask Stefan? He stay home because we have issues at home. And we should learn to try and deal with our issues here. Things are right in our backyard. We act as if that we are unaware. But we know everything about what's happening outside. And lots of us read. We listen to the news. We analyze for ourselves. We think. We have the ability to think for ourselves. And so therefore, having said that, if we try to follow the path of starting home, start to respect our own people, start to respect one another, we will have more than Africanism here. Because I can tell you this, in my lifetime, I'm not sure that I'll ever live to reach the land of Africa. But Africa is more here with our people. How do I treat my people? How did they treat me? But you know something? I cannot give what I don't have. If I have no respect for myself, how can I respect my fellow man as an African? How can I deal with my own people if I can't deal with my own self? And so charity begins at home. We must learn to dance a yard before we begin to dance abroad. Good conversation. Thank you very much. Education is always good, but it's not a one-side track. Life is a two-way street. Gentlemen, have a good day.
All right, caller, and thank you for your contribution to this program.
I agree with him. That's why I'm saying we're calling for a national convention to trash out all our differences. Because the reason why we have so much problems is because of this Westminster political system that our colonizers has put on us. So we are calling for oneness at home, oneness regionally in terms of the OACS and CARICOM, and oneness globally. So we're starting here at home. You know, a lot of people don't understand, but this is Africa too. Go ahead.
Let's take this call. Hey, caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon to everybody. Greetings to everybody in Jesus' name. He who is the only Savior of sinners from their sins and from hell, and he who is the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, to call in and say that Kulunji is wrong with a number of stuff. But you see, Ms. Henry asks a very important question. What would he do with people who disagree with him? That one he refused to answer.
Well,
because
people who disagree with us, then they're with the enemy. So when God do not with them, we leave them alone. Simple as that.
So you believe in freedom of speech?
Well, they talk about freedom of speech, right? Right? And then you come on the radio and talk nonsense that you should be free to talk nonsense. You disrespect Brother Randall Robinson the other day.
So I should have the freedom of speech to disrespect somebody. You agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that. Because you just talking nonsense.
So then what would you do with people who speak in
I just leave you alone.
To your judgment?
I don't have nothing to do with you.
Leave me alone.
Simple as that.
Okay. Secondly, there is an issue. Socialism was the cause of COVID, not capitalism. Socialism is the cause of the load of problems, where socialism, communism, fascism, mixed economy, those are making our problems worse and worse, not capitalism, because capitalism is not practiced the way it ought to be. And the remnants of capitalism that are practiced, it is slowing down us from going to destruction. But what is making things terrible for us and bad for us is the socialism, fascism, communism, mixed economy, planned economy, and those sort of stuff that are being practiced. Now, to show you, capitalism is the absolute private property of the means of production and the means of distribution. Government ain't have none to do that in capitalism. But government was involved in the Wuhan lab, building the Wuhan lab, investing the money, both American and Chinese government and whoever else government. Is governments are the problems of a lot of these problems around the world. And if governments are the problems, that means that cannot be capitalism. It is socialism, fascism, communism, and so on. But it is not capitalism, because capitalism is government not intervening in the economy. But once you have government intervening in the economy, it is no more capitalism, it is something else, like socialism, communism, etc., fascism, etc. Now, where Africa is concerned, when the colonialists were there, yes, it was bad, it was evil. But when those who took over from the colonialists, including Kwame Nkrumah, they made life worse for the people with their socialism. Instead of going back to the traditional and historic African ways of living, which was free market capitalism, no, they went to Europe and adopted Europe's socialism and brought it into Africa and made things worse for Africa. And they were even worse than the colonialists. There's a great Ghanaian scholar by the name of George Ayiti. Ayiti spelled Ayttey. He wrote a book called Indigenous African Institutions. You could get on Amazon. He have other books on Amazon as well, dealing with Africa as well.
Right.
And he is also on YouTube. And one of his lectures you could see on YouTube is called History Series, traditional African system lecture at FMF. We
All right,
got into
caller.
all of these things.
All right, caller.
So I just wanted to say that Africa was free market capitalist before the colonialists came in. And those who took over from the colonialists, they didn't go back to the traditional African. They went to Karl Marx and Engels and so from Europe and bring those even wicked systems in Africa and even made life worse for the Africans than when they were under the colonialists. Okay, thank you.
All right, caller, and thank you for your contribution to this program. The phone lines are open, and we're taking your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. I'll just signal to you when we have some callers coming in, but I'll give you the opportunity to respond to.
No, I can't respond to that.
Caller.
I don't respond to stupidity. You see what I'm saying? Because it's a distraction, Brother Devon. You understand? Because, I mean, here we're talking about there was free market capitalism in Africa before the colonialists came. No, that is totally irresponsible because before the colonialists came, in any African society that you go in, the means of production was owned by the community. It's a reality. Nobody owned a private property. Private property only come when the colonialists came. But what I'm saying, that's a distraction, man. I don't want to respond to that.
All right, let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take some more calls. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Let's take this one. Caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. This Ras Kolonji guy, he seems and he talks as if he's an educator. But then when you listen to him further, he doesn't behave that way. Because he disagrees with someone, he has a negative attitude. What he should do is try to educate why he disagrees and explain. But anyway, this is what I'm calling for, really. We are a small nation. I've imagined not going to Africa, but there is no deep desire for me to go to Africa.
You're in Africa already. Sinkis is Africa, Nevis is Africa.
That's your opinion. Africa is the mother colony in another part of the earth. We're in another part of the world, so we are African descendants. We are African descendants, but I am not African. I'm African descendant, but I've lost a heritage to all the pollutants. But let me ask you something. You advocating that we, in a sense, should support Russia and what is happening because they were instrumental in liberating a part of Africa or helping Africa to overcome certain difficulties back in the time. We are too small because you know that if you live in St. Kitts and you know St. Kitts, you know we heavily depend on outside resources. We once had sugar. We don't have any other natural resources. We used to do cotton. We don't do that anymore. Why are you advocating that we should support Vladimir Putin and what they're trying to do against him? We should speak out against it. Why you don't let the other countries who have more backing and who have more power and persuasion to do those kind of things? By the way, when was the last time you went to Africa? You yourself?
I never been.
You serious? No. Well, you don't have any right to be talking on the radio like how you're talking. I thought you've been to Africa at least once or so in your lifetime. To Ethiopia or one of those places. I could have swear you've been to Africa.
No, I've never been. But Sweet La Amiga is Africa for me.
Okay. and you know, another thing I would like to say to you, the slaves that came over here to St. Kitts could not have come over here on their own unless other brothers like us sold us out. So you have to attack it from where it starts.
So that is your position. Let me ask you a question, right? When the United States invaded Afghanistan, wasn't Afghanistan citizens in Afghanistan supporting the United States?
They had students going over there. I mean, you understand that it was because of
listen what I'm saying. Listen to me, my brethren. I'm saying to you. You saw the pictures on CNN with all those people going to the airport because the Taliban took over. All I'm saying to you, in any struggle that you have, you're going to have those citizens of our people supporting the enemy. I'm going to show you an example. Look at the Secretary for Defense in the United States. He's a black man. Look at the press secretary for President Biden. It's a black woman. The representative from the United States to the UN is a black woman. She went to Africa telling the African leaders that if you all don't support us and Ukraine, you will face consequences. We understand that, brother. In any struggle you got, you're going to have people who are going to be with the enemy.
Listen, we all agree that America is a bully. But you must understand this, there's coming a time that the European Union, the 10 nations, going to take over, and all that you're preaching and all that you're endorsing going to be fruitless, because when the European Union take over, a lot of things going to change. So your struggle is just a little longer. That's going to soon come to an end, because when the European Union take over, that's it for everything.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying when the European Union take over, because it is futuristically predicted, and you see it happening. They're going to take over, and when they take over, you fight with America, you fight with Russia, you fight with China, all of that will come to an end soon. And even in our lifetime, if you live another 10 more years, you'll see the fulfillment of that happening. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to say, but I respect what you're saying. I respect your education.
Let me say something to you before you go.
Well, he can listen right after you. We're going to take some more callers, all right? Thank you, caller, so much for your contribution to this program. Go ahead.
He's talking about the European Union taking over. The European Union can't take over nothing. The European Union is a colony of the United States. The United States is who lead NATO. The United States have 800 military bases around the world. The United States is the superpower in the world. And what is happening between the war in Ukraine and Russia is that the United States have a doctrine called full spectrum dominance. Because what happened was living in a unipolar world, you know. We talk about the collapse of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union collapsed because of the arms race. The economy of the Soviet Union couldn't sustain the arms race because it was trying to compete with the United States in terms of building weaponry. That's why the Soviet Union collapsed. So what I'm saying, right, is that our people have to understand. Do you know that the United States invaded the Soviet Union after the 1917 revolution? Do you know that the United States invaded China after the 1949 revolution? Our people don't know these things. So what I'm saying, that the United States have a doctrine called full spectrum dominance, right? After the fall of the Soviet Union, there was a unipolar world, right? Okay, go ahead. Take the call.
We have some more callers on the line. Let's head back to the phone lines, and we will take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Yes, good afternoon again. You see, life is funny. That's the same thing I just said. The statement that was made to Gregory, that he chatting stupidness, should not be said to him. Tell him that you don't agree with him.
No, brother, listen to me, my brother. Okay. Listen to me. Let me say something.
Not to agree with him. I don't want to cross talk with you. I don't want to cross talk with you.
I know you don't want to cross talk.
Then I will listen. You hold the mic. But all I'm saying is that if you don't agree with him, we must choose our words politely. Because at the end of the day, if you embarrass him or insult him now, he might not want to come back to you. You might not be the instrument of bringing the message that you want to bring to him. Somebody else might be that instrument. It's not everybody we talk to going to come across to us and they're going to understand what we're saying. I might not understand what they're saying. Don't mean that they're chatting stupidness. They're speaking from a point of view from which they see. We can agree to disagree without being disagreeable. So we have to turn on our rhetoric. We have to turn on ourselves if we are willing to teach. And not only teach by words, but we must lead by example. And our example follow. Because if we do the right thing, people not only following what we say, but they're following what we do and how we do it. I am not a perfect person. I do some foolishness and stupidness, but at the end of the day, we can all try. So that's all I'm saying. So we have to listen to each other, even though you might think, because you only think that's why he's saying his foolishness. But in his mind, he's saying the right thing. That's all I have to say. I think I've said enough.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution to this program. Sure, go ahead.
Look here. I know Gregory for years. Me and Gregory were friends. You understand? I know Gregory more than 20 years. And he have never talked nothing sensible. Even when you show him the evidence. I'm telling you. Gregory is the one who set up my email. So I just lock him off.
Well, let's not divert into.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I know who Gregory is.
Yeah, but let's not divert into you and Gregory's personal business. Let's head back to the phone lines and we will take some more calls. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius, and good afternoon, Kalanje.
Blessed love, man.
No, I normally agree with you with your African teachings and so on. But today, trust me, I think you went a little too far. You, as the last caller said, you could agree to disagree. And so I don't think you should be calling people's point of view stupid and them kind of derogatory statements. That, I mean, as a person who admire your knowledge, I am very displeased with you today with that sort of treatment. That I don't agree with the caller either, but trust me, that is not nice. No, in terms of not first of all, but now I'm going to talk about, I don't also agree with your economic structure that you're subscribing to. As much as, like I say, I normally agree with your outlook. And I really was just going to listen to that. But a caller before also said he have lost, I wrote it down, he have lost his heritage, so he don't consider himself African no more. Lord, water nearly come to my eye. I mean, that is so, really sad. He have lost his heritage. And that is what we're trying to tell these people. Use an African no matter where you go. We are African living in St. Kitts. Race, ethnicity. Oh, let me say that. This morning, I was listening to a program on that very station. And I heard two lawyers, young, supposed to be intelligent lawyers, saying that, but let me don't even go to that. But they couldn't differentiate, it seems like, the difference between race, ethnicity, and nationality. Because they were trying to say, for example, one of them, that those white people that went down to South Africa, right, and took over the people's land, set up their own economy and so on, got children there, that they are Africans. Well, they're half mixed race. They are European Africans. But African is a race. That is what they're forgetting. It's a race. When we black people get children in America, what they call us? African American. They make sure they let you know you are from Africa, even though they're not from America neither, and they went there or from Europe and so on too. But that is how they describe us. We are African American. So when the Chinese come to St. Kitts, they're still Chinese. They are Chinese Kittitians. So we are African living in St. Kitts. So we are African Kittitians. And as long as we so easily giving away our race, we can always have problem. We always, trying to bring in other people in our race, and, there is one of us. They went, no. And one of the lady, well, not one of the lady, a lady said, Kittitian travel all over the world. Yes, but we weren't treated like part of them. We went as far as the Panama Canal, yes. I've heard of the Frederick, who was the chief master carpenter, came out of St. Kitts, building the Panama Canal. But they talk about the kind of down-hoggish treatment that our people got during those times. So we travel all over, but we was always the downtrodden. But back to our race, we need to embrace our race and understand Africa is for Africans. We always selling out, and that is the problem. Huh? Let me just quick before I go and put in things. Now, with this world code, Kalanja needs you to let them to know, right, that the U.S. is not party to the World Court Treaty.
Thank you.
Because they say it's unconstitutional and so on to them, right? No, they're going to put out a warrant for Putin, who is not part of the structure, is not signatory to nothing to do with the court. No, just saying, what if Putin now go in his structure, he court system and say, he putting out a warrant for the president of the United States and the UK. Everybody goes, oh, heaven falling, oh, how dare he out of order, he this and he that. But that's going to show you, even though it is symbolic and he have no effect on Putin, Putin could do the same thing just for psychology too. So we need to look at our own narrative and stop anything CNN and BBC tell us. But Kalanje, you and people like you have a lot of work to do. You can't just depend on just saying we're going to have a convention and all of that before educating our people. What the man said, dance a yard before you dance abroad. I could not believe it's so long. Mr. Robinson was living in St. Kitts, and no group invited, apart from the Labour Party who had him as a guest speaker at one time. There is no group as far other than that, as far as I know, that, had this gentleman, and even if somebody's had him once or twice, he should have been in our face. We should have been using that man knowledge, and have him lecture here and there, not to frustrate, kill out the man. But we should have capitalized on his knowledge, his experience. When you hear people now on CNN talking about this man, we could not believe we had that man in our midst. So Kalanji, turn down, just my humble advice, try and turn down the rhetoric. You don't have to agree with people, but respect them for agree to disagree. And I would like you to let the people know there's a difference between race, ethnicity, and nationality. You is an African, no matter where you go. Thanks a lot, Mr. Cornelius.
And thank you.
Kalanji, bless.
Yes, thank you, caller, for your contribution to this program. We have to take a short ad break to acknowledge our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation right here on WINFM 98.9. It is Voices for Monday, April 3rd, 2023. The phone lines are open. Call us at 466-0989 or 662-0989. But we have to take this ad break. We'll be right back. Stick and stay.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Here are your Horseplus Value Mart IGA specials for March 23rd through April 5th. Now our Value Club Blue Tag specials. Almond Breeze, almond milk, just $9.99. Essential Everyday Salsas, just $9.99 each. Gatorade, $8.99. Country Cock Margarine, $27.99. Super Chill Sodas are just $6.99. Essential Everyday Freezer Bags, just $7.99. And now, our very low weekly value deals. IGA and Essential Everyday Chunk Light Tuna, Water and Oil, $3.49. IGA and Essential Everyday Cornflakes, $8.99. Arm & Hammer Liquid Detergent, $19.99. Dawn Dish Liquid Detergent, $13.99. Arm & Hammer Deodorant, $7.99. VO5 Shampoo and Conditioner, just $5.49. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart. Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en Value Mart.
And we are back. More voices right here on WinFM 98.9. Raskalanja, we have a lot of callers coming in, so let's head to the phone lines and we'll take these calls. All right. Caller, good afternoon. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Hi, Mr. Cornelius. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And good afternoon to your guest, Kalanji.
Good afternoon.
In the whole scheme of things, we don't know. We don't know how civilization, the length, the longevity of civilization, we don't know. What I can tell you, though, is that according to the narrative, we were brought here to replace persons who got, in terms of the workforce, to bring about economics. And there are movements because we were told lies. For instance, the Kalinago people who were here and on other islands, they survived and they're going to become a nation again. And we don't know because things would be established, things will be restored back to order. And so it's like the old saying, every fig is got to find its fig tree. We, someday, sometime, we will have to find our roots. And so we are on land that initially wasn't ours. And the Kalinago people, they're going to establish their nations again. And who they will welcome, I don't know. But that's what it is. Everyone was given its own space. Every people, every nation was given their own space. And for maybe one could argue and say for survival, other people encroach on other people's space, but the moment is going to come when they're going to have to find their space. In spite of the population of the world today, that's the order, and I firmly concur with that order. Thanks for listening.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. The phone lines are open. We're taking your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. That's 466-0989 or 662-0989. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take some more calls. You're on the air, caller. Good afternoon.
Yes, hello, it's me again. I just like to let the callers them know. I'm not offended by whatever Kalonji said. I mean, Kalonji, he used to have arguments in the past, and when he can't deal with my arguments, he used to give me a ton load of bad word. But it doesn't matter. It's all cool. It's all cool. No problem about that. I'm not offended in any way. Secondly, I would like to say that, look here, the Bible is the only answer to all of our problems and situations. Kalonji missed that. Randall Robinson missed that. Even Martin Luther King Jr. missed that. A lot of these civil rights leaders missed that. And because they all missed that, they missed the answers to our problems in life. They missed the solutions to our problem in life because they never looked to the Bible. They looked to socialism, communism, fascism, all sorts of stuff that are contrary to the Bible. And because of that, they all have gone down the wrong road to destruction and to ruin. And if any one of them dead without Christ, they will end up in hell for all eternity. No, and by extension, that is for everybody as well who die without Christ. We end up in hell for all eternity. Now, I would also like to say concerning the land issue in Africa before the colonialists came there. Kalonji is very wrong. And like I said, check out George Ayati's book, Indigenous African Institution, and check out his videos and YouTube. And like I said, his name is spelled Ayttey, Ayeti. Now, in one of his lectures on YouTube, he showed you that the land in Africa before the colonialists came, they were owned by lineage, by family, not by the king. And that was kind of similar to how it was in the Bible, where families own land. He showed you that in his book and in his lecture on YouTube. And there were times when, yes, the king was given land in holding because somebody moved out of the community, and when they moved out of the community, the land was given to the king in holding. And there was another reason as well, when the land was given to the king in holding. But normally, the lands were owned by lineage, by family. It was privately owned by them who set the rules for the land, not the king. And not only that, you had markets, and the people used to go to the markets with their produce and animals and that sort of stuff, and they set the prices for their produce and their animals. And when they made a profit, it was for them and their family, not to give back to the king for the king to redistribute it as he pleased. That was capitalism, free market capitalism, operating in the African culture long before the colonialists went in Africa. And George Ayati went in other details to show you, hey, the African traditional institutions, how they were free market capitalists, because prices and so were privately determined. And like I said, lands were owned by family, by lineage. And they decide how the land was to be used, not the king, not the state. And if the leaders and when they took over from the colonialists, if they even had went back to the traditional African institutions, Africa would have been the richest continent today. But they rejected the traditional African institutions, which were very close to the Bible way of doing things. But like I said, the Bible is the only answer to all of our problems, to all of our situations, and to all of life. And because Kalonji and all the rest of them reject the Bible, that is why they're going down the wrong road and deceiving people for their destruction and ruin. And like I say, you die in your sins without Christ, you're going to end up in hell for all eternity. Thank you.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution. It is about 13 minutes past the 1 o'clock hour. Kalanji?
You see what I'm talking about, my brother? Look at this Dr. King. Dr. King was a Christian preacher. You see, that's what I'm saying. And then our people get this colonial concept that all ideas should contend. No, he totally dissed Dr. King. When we talk about Jesus dying for us. Dr. King died for us. Patrice Lumumba died for us. Malcolm X died for us. Dessalines died for us. Toussaint Louverture died for us. Marcus of the Woods died for us. The first war of liberation, my brother, in 17, I can't remember the date, took place in Nevis, one of the first wars of liberation, right? Where our enslaved people defeated the European in Nevis at Maroon Hill, now Zetlands, in Nevis, before the Haitian Revolution. So I'm saying, like I said, people talking about all ideas. How an idea where a man gonna come and diss Dr. King? Dr. King was a peaceful man. He never advocated violence. And he was killed. J. Edgar Hoover said that Martin Luther King was one of the most dangerous person in the United States. Not me. The FBI said that. So I'm saying to our people, we got to get real. We cannot let people come and bring this information to us. Because anything I say here, my brother, I have the information to back it up. I don't come here and rage and say things that I cannot substantiate. I don't operate like that. So what I'm saying to us, we got to get real. Look, okay, I'm going to show you an example. Look at China, right? China have the world's second largest economy right now. The United States is the leading economy in the world with $21 trillion, the gross domestic product in terms of goods and services, all the money that is spent and the services that go along with it. China's economy is $17 trillion, the gross domestic product, right? By the year 2025, 2030, China is going to surpass the United States. Why? Because the United States don't make anything anymore. Everything is made in China. What constitute, right, a progressive nation and a leading nation in the world is your industrial base. The United States took its industrial base to China, right? Now, the neoliberal philosophy of the United States is that you should forget your culture and accept everything that they had. But what happened? The mistake they made with China, the Communist Party in China told the United States, look here, we don't have no problem submitting you with cheap labor, but you have to train our people, give us the technology. And that's what China did. There's no opposition in China. That's why China took 800 million people out of poverty. That has never happened in the world before. There's a lot of poverty in China still, you know? But I'm telling you, 800 million people China took out of poverty because of the development that is taking place in China. I'm saying to our people that we have to get on one page. Yeah, we could disagree, but what? We have to have a mechanism to suss out we contradiction them. That's all. That's all what it needs. How are we going to oppose you? Right? When what happened to George Floyd could have happened to me or you. Look at COVID. COVID was aimed at us. They mash up our economies. You understand? We are not responsible for that. But our people do not have the proper narrative in terms of how they're looking at things. I look at things from a historical perspective. If you're mistreating me all the time, my brethren, how come I gonna love you? It doesn't make sense. It's not logical. And what I'm saying, for over 400 years, People talking about capitalism. Capitalism is in a crisis. Look at the bank collapse in America, the Silicon Valley. It's a capitalist institution. You see, and what our people don't understand, we were capital. We were owned, we were property. He talking about private property. We were property. How come a human being could be a commodity? That's what we are in terms of how these colonialists see us. You know, we got to get real here. We were capital, man. How you going to be for capitalism and you were capital?
Let's head back to the phone lines. We have some callers here, right here on WINFM 98.9. Okay, we seem to have lost that one. Let's take this one. A caller. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller as well. The phone lines are open and we're taking your calls at 466-0989 or 662-0989. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. A caller, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Yes, Devon, good afternoon. And good afternoon, Ras Kalonji.
Good afternoon, my brother.
You know, Devon and Kalonji, it makes me weep to hear our people like Gregory with his message that he's pushing on people. You know, in my opinion, I stated this last week, that Gregory hates himself. Or it's either he don't know who he is. Gregory never spoke about the liberation of Africans. Kalunji and Devon, we were a collective before we were interrupted. Exactly. And we were interrupted by a race of people who have created a system of economics. It is sad that we broke away from that. I mean, if you want to look at it on the spiritual side, that we disobeyed. But really, no. How could a race of people that have gone everywhere on the planet and have raped and tortured, slaughtered our ancestors and give us salvation? I mean, it makes me weep, gentlemen. But we are so consumed and we swallow everything that is foreign. And that is why I look at all this on the spiritual side, Devon. We swallowed everything wholesale. How could a race of people that have tortured come into our homes, tortured, slaughtered, create genocide and atrocity to our people and turn around and give us salvation? In their own narrative. Devon, the truth is more brutal than the lies. We used to gather under every green tree and every high hill where we had a community that did raise a child. Today we are told by them that to beat a child is child abuse. You see how we are falling away from all that is us? And for Gregory to always brand in his voice about Africa. Africa is still the most richest continent with all the implementation of foreign military power that is creating chaos to maintain. Never make no mistake. We have a common enemy. Exactly. We have a common enemy. And this enemy can only create chaos in order to maintain. You know, it makes me weep, Devon. Our people will perish because we are lack of knowledge of who we are. Thank you for hearing me.
And thank you, caller, for your contribution to this program. We're taking more calls right here on Voices on WINFM 98.9 for Monday, April 3rd, 2023. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, sorry. I'd like to say something quickly. Now, Kalunji is using some illogic. If I misuse a knife, if somebody misuse a knife to murder somebody, should I hate knives? Should I have nothing to do with knife because somebody misuse a knife? Or people misuse knives? No. It is the same thing. When it comes to capitalism, the first principle of capitalism is that you own your body. Now, anybody who go against that and kidnap people, force people into slavery and that sort of stuff is not capitalism because they're not respecting the first principle of capitalism, that your body is your private property and you own your body. So that is an abuse of capitalism, but an abuse of something is no reason to hate the real thing. It's illogical to hate something because it has been abused. We don't do that for anything else. People misuse knives, misuse machetes, but yet we still use them because they have a good place in society for human thriving. Now, unlike these other people Kulunji talk about that died for us, Jesus died to save sinners from their sin and from hell. And he rose on the third day according to the scriptures, the fulfillment of the scriptures. Nobody else has ever done that, to die for anybody, to save them from their sins and to save them from hell. And that is why anybody who died without Jesus Christ will end up in hell for all eternity. Yes, you could die in a cause for somebody, but Jesus went beyond that. Jesus died for sinners to save them from their sins and to save them from hell. And he's the only one who have done that. And only his blood could save sinners from their sins and from hell. And lastly, where Martin Luther King is concerned, Martin Luther King did not believe that Jesus was God. He did not believe that Jesus rose from the dead. He did not believe in the virgin birth. He did not believe in the second coming of Christ. And he did not believe in a literal hell. You can't reject these things and be a true Christian. No. You cannot. Christianity have rules. Christianity have principles. And the Bible speaks about wolves in sheep clothing. Anybody who rejects these things and call himself a Christian, it could be even Martin Luther King.
All right,
they are wolves in sheep clothing.
All right, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution to this program. We are taking some more calls. We'll take one more call. Let's get one more caller in. And Kalonji, I'll give you the opportunity to add your contribution, and we'll wrap up the program for today. Let's head back to the phone lines, and we'll take this final call for today. The caller, you are on the air. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Kalonji.
Yes, I.
The struggle is real, my brother. It is not easy.
Straighten them out for me.
Yeah, because when your own people are fighting themselves, they do not understand that what you're doing is for them, is them. You're explaining us. You're talking about us. You're talking about us before Columbus. You're talking about us as a people, as a race, as inventors. You're talking about us as the people who create constitutions. All the democracy, what you call the other one? All the crossy them, come here, all the ism them. It's isms. Ubuntu is an African word. It says, I am because we are. When you I ask this question, when you take the banana tree to England, does it bear breadfruit? We are seeds. You are not this, what you call it, forbearant. We are seeds. Kalonji is trying to impose as a people, especially these times, because you see who ain't wake up and who ain't realize what going perish is what the vaccine come for here. Because it's a purge and minds like a lot of the commentators here must be purged. They cannot continue to spread this kind of thing they're spreading. It's self-hatred. If you are a great piano player, they call you a pianist. If I am defending my race as pro-African, because I am, and we are all Africans, then if in that context, as a person strong in self, defending self, I am a racist, then so let it be. Kalonji, you can't help them who ain't want to be helped. The painful thing is that sometimes on these radio stations, we give the people a medium to express their ignorance and feel strong about it. Bless up.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution to this program. We are just 3 minutes away from the close of this program. Raskalanji?
Yes, my brother, Brother Chase hit the nail right on the head. You hear? I couldn't say it any better. But what I'm saying, this man come on and diss Dr. King again. Dr. King put his life on the line for us in a non-violent way. I mean, come on. No, I understand, Devon, that the reason why a lot of our people respond the way they respond is because they don't know any better. I know that for sure. Because we was indoctrinated this way. I know that. So I have sympathy for a lot of our people who say certain things because they're not aware of it. You know, okay, I'm not a mechanic. I can't fix a vehicle. But I could learn. If I need my car fixed or my vehicle, I got to go to a mechanic. So what I'm saying to our people, anything, Marcus Garvey said this, there's nothing in the world common to man that man cannot do. All he's simply saying, anything you want to know, all you have to do is come in contact with it. You can learn it. So I'm saying to our people in a very solemn way, my brother, that it's time for us as African people to get on one page because we are at war. You heard what Brother Trish said? The coronavirus was to purge us, to take us off the face of the earth. And these are things that are planned. You know, there's an agency in the United States, FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. They had a plan to put all African people in concentration camps. These things are planned. These things just don't drop out the sky. So what I'm saying to our people, we at war. And if you want to side with the enemy, it's your choice. But African people who have struggled for their liberation from the Battle of Kuta Carnival to the liberation of South Africa, to where we vanquish apartheid. You understand? There's forces in the world, African people, who know these things. And we are not going to compromise, you understand, our existence on planet Earth. And it's as simple as that, my brother. But before, what Granny say, Africans unite, African unity, Africans unite. One African people, one African parliament, one African economy, one African passport. And before I leave you, my brother, a people must know their origins and practice their traditions in order to be themselves. If not, they lose themselves in another vision of reality. And if that reality is the creation of their enemy, then they fall deeply asleep in someone else's nightmare. Give thanks, one love, and I'd just like to give another shout out to Brother Randall Robinson. May he rest in peace and power, because now he's a member of the ancestors. Give thanks, one love.
All right, that was Ras Kalonji joining us on today's edition of Voices right here on WINNFM 98.9. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be here on the program with us for today. Until next time, you guys continue to stay safe, and thank you for tuning in to WINNFM 98.9. Please remember, don't drink and drive, and certainly don't text and drive. It's Monday, April 3rd, 2023. I'm Devon Cornelius. You guys enjoy the rest of your Monday and do have a very productive week. Bye-bye. Take care.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WIN.